good. We are here at Old Town Beer Exchange for the March Beer Trail Conversation Series, and we are going to show you around OTBX tonight. All right, and we're live. Matt Fowler, co-owner of Old Town Beer Exchange, and Chad Emerson, president and CEO of Downtown Huntsville, Inc.
All right, so how's the sound coming out there? Good?
Comment the volume if you care.
All right, so welcome to, I think this is our 5th Downtown Huntsville Craft Beer Trail Conversation Series, and it's our first one. So the trail is made up of 7 breweries and 4 craft beer stores. This is our first non-brewery. This is a little bit of a different angle. We're not going to talk about the beer they're brewing. We're actually going to, come on closer here, brother. She's getting rid of the signal. So we're going to talk about the beer that they serve. Not that close. Mm-hmm. And so we have Matt here, who's one of the founders, along with Chase, who's really the beer meister, the beer cicerone, is that what it's called, or whatever. Yeah. So your family's been in Huntsville for a long time. Your dad had a retail shop here. You're an MLS technology. I mean, and you ended up with a beer store. Tell me about that.
Yeah, we did. And we actually got an ad for my grandfather's store right there on the wall. It was 19 something, I think. Yeah, we've been here for a long time. We were actually drinking beer in the lower yard, talking about wanting a different experience, kind of a West Coast downtown room, less of a restaurant, more about the beer. Chase was there, Chase led the idea, and here we are.
So, when this place started, it was different than it is now. Tell me, when I remember walking in here, these were all racks of beer and wine, so when you first got started, what did you envision for OTBX?
Yeah, we knew when we opened. I remember standing outside and saying, we're going to unlock the door, and we have no idea what's going to happen. And we have a license to sell beer to go, so you can come with a growler or a can, a big can of growler, or just packaged beer to go. And during nights in the entertainment district, so we use a purple cup to go. So we have a license to sell beer to go, wine to go. But it turns out that people wanted to stay, and it's kind of like maybe Starbucks, but with beer. And you'd have a meeting, you'd get together, and it wouldn't be, it turned out to be more on-premises. And we just kind of, moved to that.
500 bottles of wine, 500 bottles of beer, like you said, everywhere. 12 seats over there at the bar and 12 seats here. And now we have 55 seats, no wine and less beer than all.
So, I'm going to talk beer real quick here a second, but before we turn it over that direction, what's been the biggest surprise, both good and bad, since you've opened your first craft beer store?
Yeah, gosh. I guess the biggest surprise was that so many people wanted to come and stay. We just didn't know what to expect. And I think of all the problems we could have had, that everybody wants to just hang around is a good problem. It's why we more than double the seating. That was a huge surprise. And we had to change staffing and inventory and a lot of things just to deal with that. That's okay. We like it this way.
Yeah. Now you're a wine guy though, so did it hurt your heart a little bit to lose some of the wine? Or
I want to not pushing back on that for a while, and like I am going to right now. It's not that we have no wine; it's that we have chilled wine in the cooler, and we have 20-something wines by the glass right now, which is a ton. I mean, who's got 20 wines by the glass in town? Like, Bruce Chris does, Scott Monroe, but you have to look around to find a by the glass wine list that deep. So we've got 32 beers you can choose from, but in addition to that, we've got really great.
Now, you don't have food here, though, or at least you don't have a kitchen-type food. You have some cooler and popcorn over there. But was that intentional in the beginning, or was it because of the space?
It was intentional. We didn't want to be a restaurant. We didn't want to have the kitchen overhead. We couldn't have had a kitchen here because it's not equipped for that. But, out west, outside of the brewery, it's common to have a food truck. Yeah. And while we don't make beer, we serve some of the best beers locally in the world. And it's common to have a food truck outside, or the barbecue guys here a lot. You can also order food to go. A lot of people are looking for a pizza or roast out or something like that. We would love that, no problem. There's always Chase's great coffee.
Yeah, so let's talk some of the actual beer. I think you were one of the first in the city, if not the first, to have the really cool board. It's the electronic board. It shows how much beer is left. What was the thought process when you start buying beer for, how many taps are on there?
32.
So 32. That's a lot of taps to fill. What's your strategy in trying to fill those?
Well, we wanted to represent kind of a broad spectrum of all beer styles, and then take the most popular ones and add multiples of those. And our thing that we do, and I think it's what kind of gives us a little bit of notoriety or the success we've had off of that, is when say a brown ale, the keg blows, we put another brown ale on, but from someone else. And when I order from these breweries, I'll order, let's say, straight ale, monkey nuts, and IPA. Well, when that IPA blows, the next week I'll order their heavy. I don't just keep ordering the same thing. We only have 2 beers out of 32 on the entire board. Now 3, that are mainstays, and they're always there.
So one of the questions you get when you come to like here or other trail stops like Wisher Beer or Liquor Express is, how do you decide how many locals to put on? Because you may put on straight to ale, but just a mile down the road, there's 18 straight to ales at straight to ale.
So we try to support all of them with at least a tap. And like I said, with the ordering process, I try to order a different beer from all of them. So sometimes you'll see one of their beers on, and when that beer is taken off, the next beer that I order for them, I don't necessarily need that style right now. So there may be a day or two that they're off, but we always try to have at least one of every beer from the entire state on at all times.
Okay.
And it's really the only place you can go and get all of them. You can't get, another brewery's beer in somebody else's tap room. So if you want to take a tour of craft beer stores in Alabama, Old Town's a great place to go.
So you have a whole variety of people on their craft beer spectrum of life, right? Some people are just getting into craft beer, and some people who want that hardest thing to find. How do you balance that interest with the super aficionado with the nascent craft beer experience?
So we do flight pours, and that's always a good option, and we will let you taste anything. Now you can't come in here and sit down and taste all 32 of them.
You're cut off at some
obviously,
point.
but we'll let you taste a few, and we always just start the question with, a lot of people will be like, I like this. Well, tell me what's in your fridge. What do you buy? And then from that, we'll kind of look at what's on the board, and we'll just start to throw you a couple samples, and then just kind of hang.
So, one of the things, in addition to beer here, that these folks are really super socially and community conscious. In fact, just tonight there's a Make-A-Wish event going on, but you also have a tap that every month supports a local cause. Tell us, either one of you tell us.
So, Tap 32, it's a different charity every month. We try to find a beer that, a popular beer that people would want to buy, so we get that, and then $1 of every beer sold goes towards the charity of the month. And it's kind of up for the charity to come in and do events such as this. Make-A-Wish is our one this week. And every Tuesday and Thursday this month, and they've been rocking it. And we've had some people that didn't come in as often, and it shows. So, we just love to be supportive of the community, and it's helping out.
I know St. Jude got a check for over $1,000, but they were
$1,500.
They were packing the place, and
That's a buck of beer, so that's.
And that guy was
that's
here
a lot of
almost
beer
every day. When he got off work, he'd at least come have one beer.
They brought a lot of people down, and that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah. So in addition to that, you also have the stage here, which you built recently, and you've had guys like Todd May, Jim Hudson, you've had a race relations conversation. Tell us what got that going at a craft beer store.
Yeah, I don't think it's that big of a stretch, Chad. I think you and I have sat over a craft beer and talked about race relations in Huntsville. I don't think after a beer or two, maybe we think this about ourselves, but I think it can be kind of insightful. And we wanted to raise that conversation, put it up on stage, and talk about what's really working, in race relations in Huntsville, what's not working, and it's not all about ball sports and, what's going on in Hollywood. There are more interesting conversations happening all the time.
Yeah.
And we wanted to just kind of hand that a microphone.
The other cool kind of side of it is the guy that started the series is a retired 25-year Navy SEAL that has amazing stories. And he's sitting here, and 4 seats down is Todd May, who is the director of NASA. Everyone's sitting around him. No one knows each other. So it was actually Jeff that suggested, man, it'd be really cool because I didn't even know that the director was right next to me. And then they met and they sat there and talked for 3 hours. And he's like, I want people to know about this. So Jeff did our kickoff for us.
So we're gonna finish up here in just a second. I'm gonna ask you a question. If you had one beer to drink before you died, what that beer would be. So think about that. But before we do that, as you're thinking about that, in addition to the great conversation gathering places, you do some really fun events too, like the one behind us. So tell us what's coming on with Funk Fest, because it's a really unique type of beer that seems to be really popular.
So Funk Fest is the first all-sour beer festival in the state of Alabama. This is our poster from last year, and then Matt, if you would grab one of those right there. This is the one this year, and so we just try to tie in some amazing music and sour beers and introduce people to it, because there's still a ton of people that come in here, and when they hear someone order a sour beer, they're like, sour? What?
It's like a beer gone bad or something.
You know? And it's the hottest, fastest growing trend. That and the really hazy New England style IPAs are the big thing. So we just wanted to kind of bring people to our side of the neighborhood, because we're kind of on the outskirts of downtown. You know?
And the beer's funky, the music's funky. It's coming up from New Orleans, George Porter Jr.
Yeah, from the Funky Meters. Yeah. That's going to be amazing.
So when you hear about sour beer and funky beer, that's not beer that's gone bad and you're trying to get rid of. That's actually intentionally brewed that way.
Intentionally brewed that way.
That's interesting. So, all right. So, thanks for everyone. Before we ask them this big question, I'm sure they're got something in their head. Hopefully, I know what my answer is. So, the Downtown Huntsville Craft Beer Trail is about to do a little evolution here. We're now up to 11 stops, and so we're kind of like the Major League Baseball has the American League and the National League. We're also going to have 2 different segments. On the craft brewery side, you'll have 7 stops still. And if you go to those 7 stops, you get one of the cool Trail Boss openers. And now we're also going to have the craft beer store segment. We thought maybe 11 in a row was getting kind of big there, so we're now separating those. But either one or both can be done together. The fact is that that's going to really kick off probably later this month. The nice thing, though, is that the experiences are all the same. Every single place you go to, you're going to have the great OTBX experience, you're going to have the great brewery experience. It's just growing so fast. So, more details on the Craft Beer Trail Facebook page, facebook.com/Craft Beer Trail, and you'll find more about that. But as we wrap up, I love to ask questions about favorites. If you had one more beer before you had no more beers ever, what would be the beer you would take with you?
That's a super hard one, man. I'm going to go with a Prairie Sour from Prairie Brewing and wherever they are, Kansas.
Yeah?
Yes. Love those guys. They do a great
Prairie
job.
Sour. So shout out to Prairie. Prairie, if you're on here, your sour made the final death row beer of Matt Fowler. So.
No beer after that.
Chase.
I'm a Snake Handler guy.
Oh, my. Double IPA.
Yeah. I have followed that beer since its inception, and I've even called the brewery when we've gotten a keg that may have been a little old and told them, like, hey, this is a... And they're like, no, send us something like that. This is Snake Handler.
That's one of the 3 that's always on.
That's one of the 3 that's always on.
So now we know from today's Downtown Huntsville Craft Series that Mr. Snake Handler is in the house. So come see Mr. Snake Handler and come see Matt and all the team, Bill, and they got great bartenders. It's like when you come into this place, they've known you forever. It's treated like friends. So thanks for joining us in the Downtown Huntsville Craft Beer Trail Conversation Series. We'll see you next month back on the trail.